Okay, Greg Dyer here. I was gonna do a little video on customizing a lower denture for a Conus abutment case. In order to give our patient something temporary to wear with the Conus abutments, what I've done is I put some silly putty down in the holes of the model just to fill in some space so it can be removed easily. And then I used Patterson Dental's blockout resin. It's green, so it's easy to identify. I just put a drop of that on each abutment, and then I lined this up carefully where I thought the denture should go, and just stamped it on there like this. And that's just to transfer the mark so I know where the Conus abutments are going to be in relation to the denture. So after I do that, I'm going to cut holes in here that will accommodate the Conus abutment, and then once those holes are in there, then I'm going to fill those with a material called TAK, T-A-K, which is thermoplastic material, and we'll show that in a minute. I cut undercuts in this trough to help retain the material. There's no bond between the material and the tray, so I've got to have something to retain it, hold it in there. Okay, so I have the TAK thermoplastic material. It comes in a package like this with beads. Take a little bit of this. I'll make sure that you put a paper towel in your container that you're going to heat this up with. And I got really hot water. The hotter the better. Now the TAK material, you'll notice as it heats up, it changes color. So it goes from an opaque color to a translucent color as it heats up. So that helps you tell when it's ready. It is a tacky material, so that's why you line it with a paper towel, because it'll stick to this bowl and you won't be able to get it off, or at least not easily. All right, you see how it's changing color, and it's getting soft, so it's kind of rubbery now. So if you keep it hot, it'll stay rubbery. So we want to pinch off a little bit to put in each trough here that I made. So I'm just packing it in there. You see how it's squirting out the other side for the one that I actually cut a hole in. And I'm going to leave a little bit excess so it'll grip all the way down to the gum line when we put it in. Now with the Conus abutment, it's not tissue-borne. It's not a tissue-borne prosthesis. It's a abutment-borne prosthesis. So the forces are on the abutments, not on the tissues. So I'm not even going to put any up in the front there. Now just this one right here looks like it may not draw parallel to the other, so I'm going to cut a little bit more. Got to make sure the abutments will fit in here. Get the hot stuff out. Again, pack it in there. So the idea is this is a temporary denture for the patient to wear and try out while we're getting the permanent prosthesis constructed. So I'm going to leave it like that until we get to the patient's mouth, and then we'll get some some more really hot water, and then I'll show you how to fit it to the abutments when we get to that stage. Okay, before we get started, a couple of things I want to go over. This is all the materials that came from the lab. There's a steel bar. This bar goes into the, is actually going to become embedded in the denture. And you can see there's cap-shaped holes in there. And there's a little hole on each one. See if I can show you that. That little hole is an expression hole, so that's where the excess cement squirts out. So we're cementing on these little gold caps onto the bar. So, but before we get to that stage, we have to put each abutment, Conus abutment, on each implant in the mouth, and this is the jig that we use. Now the jig holds the 4 abutments in the proper orientation, and so we can move them to the mouth and screw them down. And I've got they're numbered by tooth number so that we can identify which one goes where. And I'm going to put them in here so that we can easily access them, and then we'll load them into the jig to move to the mouth. So I've got the abutments out and in order, and I labeled them. This is a custom tray. I put a little dot, just a little bit of ortho wax in each one, just to prevent them from falling out when I transfer them to the patient's mouth. Just gives it a little stickiness so it doesn't fall out of the abutment. They generally fit pretty tight so they don't fall out, but it's just a little precaution. Okay, so each abutment has a little divot in it. There's a little divot right there. That divot is supposed to line up with the hole. You press that in there. I'll go on to the next one. Find the divot, line it up. You see how I'm lining it up with that hole. Push it in. Again, line the divot up with the hole. Push it in. This is real important because nothing will fit if you don't do this right. They have to be oriented in the proper orientation. Push that one in. Once I get the hole lined up, push that in snug. Now if you look at the bases, are parallel with one another because that's where your retention comes from. It's designed so that the denture can only come out one direction, that's straight up. So the tops are parallel to one another by digitally on the computer, and then the way that when the denture comes out, it can only come out one direction straight up. So that's where a lot of your retention comes from. So that's ready for the patient. It's nice and tight, so I don't have to worry about them falling out when we put those abutments in. So you'll notice that these two posterior implants diverge quite a bit. So putting the abutments in on this jig is probably not going to work because the implant's going to have to see at that angle, and if you're coming straight from above, it's not going to go in. So what I'm going to do is my normal way I do things is do the hardest first. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in that's the hardest. So I'm going to go ahead and take these three out, and I'll get it in the general position, and then I'll put the jig back on it and see if we can line it up. I can't do that one by itself since it's at a divergent angle. Just help me orient these two holes. Retract the lip.
Yes.
Yeah,
they're in
the hole.
Uh-huh.
And this one doesn't line up with the hole when we put the other two in because it's not parallel at the base, or parallel enough at the base. So we're going to take that one out. It's going to be in the way. Put it back in the right spot. Those two are in the hole.
Yes.
Okay. Put the screws in. The jig should come out easily because it's parallel on the top. So pop it straight out. Okay, so we got two placed and hand tightened. Okay, we got it on there and finger tight. All right, one more. So we have the 4 abutments placed. Lift your tongue up for us. There you go. There's 2 on that side and 2 on this side. You notice all four of them are parallel now. Now we just have to torque them down so that we have them in place in the proper orientation. So the jig fit on there nicely. So that's a good sign. That means they're all parallel to one another. Okay.
You want to break this, please? You don't want to break the screw either. Get it on the threads first. It doesn't seem to be engaging. There it is. Is that 25? Mm-hmm. It's a little bit past 25. Let's go back around 30.
Okay, so we heated up the tack material, and you may be able to see the abutment.
The tack material. So as it's cooling, we'll let him bite on it so the tack material sets up slowly. It might be happening.
Let it cool off. Okay. Back down for me and squeeze into it. That's what I should have done to begin with. Just, I think they ground, well, I think the lab ground a bunch of that denture off. semi-hard material this way. Once it cools off, it's pretty hard, but it's still flexible enough to go onto the implants, onto the abutments. Why don't you try it? Why don't you try to put it on?